Hello! Today I am going to show you how to use Big Broadcast for Final Cut X and Motion 5. First thing you need to do inside of Final Cut X is go to your Generators tab, click it open, and then go to Motion Master Templates, and then click on that. Inside of Motion Master Templates, you are going to look for Big Broadcast. And I have two versions. I have Big Broadcast and Big Broadcast Motion Blur. The difference is Big Broadcast takes longer to render, but I believe you get a much better look as you get a motion blur between everything that has motion. If your computer is running a little slow and you notice that it's having a hard time rendering, then what I would recommend is you use Big Broadcast No Motion Blur. Motion blur is one of the things we like to add into commercials, especially professional commercials, just to give it that little extra detail of realism. So anyway, the choice is yours. You have Big Broadcast and Big Broadcast No Motion Blur. No Motion Blur renders a lot faster. So anyways, for these demonstration purposes, let's use Big Broadcast No Motion Blur and just drag it to your timeline. Once you dragged it to your timeline, if the timeline is brand new, you'll need to make sure you set the timeline to 24 frames a second. This animation was created in 24 frames, so the timeline needs to also read 24 frames a second. And you hit OK. Once you do that, you can scrub inside of the timeline and position it wherever you want. And now we start customizing. The first thing you can adjust is your monitor frame color. So if I want to change the color of it, I can. Next, I can turn the background on or off. So if you do not like these lines, you can turn it off by just clicking that off. And now you can use your own background. You can use your own text. You can use your own videos, your own stills, and this will be keyed over that. If you want the background, just click it back on. You can also adjust the background color. And you can also turn off the glow on the lines. So if you do not like the glow on the lines, just turn it off. Okay. Now I will just reset this since I like the gray white looking color. To add an image inside of your first drop zone, all you need to do is click on the drop zone well, and then choose your video or image. And next, click on Apply Clip. Okay, and to change the text, all you need to do is double click on your text, and then go inside of your text tab and change the text. Also, if you drop an image inside of your drop zone well that has an alpha, you can also change the background color of your image. So if your logo has an alpha channel, all you will need to do is click on Fill Opaque and then choose whatever color you want. And you can do that for each of your drop zones. If you want the background to be the same color for all your drop zones and you do not want to adjust each drop zone's color individually, just make sure you turn off the Fill Opaque, and at the bottom I added a monitor background color parameter. So you click on that, and that changes the background for all your drop zones. So you have a choice. You can change the colors individually, or you can do it for all of the drop zones at the same time. Now all you need to do is repeat the last step I showed you for all of the other drop zones. That is the end of the tutorial for Final Cut X, and next I will show you how to customize this template inside of Motion 5. Hello! I will now show you how to use Big Broadcast inside of Motion 5. Okay, first thing you need to do is open up Big Broadcast, which you can find inside of File, New from Project Browser, and then you will go down to Final Cut Generators, Motion Master Templates, and then you will look for Big Broadcast. I created two Big Broadcasts. I created Big Broadcast and Big Broadcast No Motion Blur. Big Broadcast comes with a motion blur, so it will slow down your render times, but I believe it will give you a much better looking animation. Some people will like it without the motion blur or do not need the motion blur, so I included the no motion blur version. And it just renders faster, so if your computer is slowing down a little bit, you might want to try the no motion blur. And for this tutorial, I am going to use the no motion blur. Okay, you select it and then just click on open. Okay, once it is open, just make sure you have your timeline open by clicking on this little timeline show and hide video timeline button down here. And then you can scrub and place the marker wherever you want to start making the changes. So if you want to change this text, just go here to the text tool, click on that, and then just double click or click on the actual text, and then you can go to the inspector and you can change all of your settings for your text. The colors, the positioning, the tracking, and the actual text itself. Okay. Add a drop zone to the actual project. You can go into your file browser and then just grab whatever image you have and put it right onto the drop zone. And that is it. To adjust your settings, just click on Project, go to Inspector, just click on Project on your timeline, go to Inspector, and here you can make all of your changes. So if you want to change your monitor frame color, you click on that. If you want to turn off the background, if you just want to render all this to an alpha, you can do that. You can turn it off. If you leave it on, you can also adjust the color by clicking here and adjusting your color. And if you want these little lines to glow, just leave this on, or if you do not want them to glow, just turn them off. Once you add your image in here, you can adjust the pan and scan of each drop zone. So that means pretty much you can position the drop zone and scale it. So if your logo is too big or too small, you can just position it whichever way you want. Also, I have the fill opaque off, or you can turn that on if you want to change this background. If you want the opaque part, which is the alpha part, to be filled in with some other color. So if you turn this on, you can now click on here and change the color to something else. And you can do that for each drop zone. If you do not want to do it for each drop zone, you just leave this off. And I also created a overall monitor background setting. So you can adjust this one right here, and that actually adjusts the color for all of them. So if you have one that needs a spatial color, you can turn that on, or just leave it off and it will use the background color. So you can use the different colors for each one or for a few, or just leave it off and it'll use that one color for the whole thing. And that's pretty much it. Just repeat the same settings here. Just drag, go to your next parts of your drop zone, of your template. Go into File Browser and same thing, just drag and drop. And then go back into your settings and make your adjustments. And that is it. If you need any more detailed tutorials, please come to motionmastertemplates.com. If you have any question, any comments, please add them to the forum if you're a member. If you're not, just please contact. And thank you. If you have any questions, please stay in touch and have an awesome and wonderful, beautiful day.
motionmastertemplates.com